Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, Thursday, July 10th, 2025. Now, believe it or not, there is yet more news on the U.S. versus Sean Combs front. Yesterday, Judge Subramanian docketed an order to both sides to provide him with, not argument, but a list of cases in which defendants have been convicted under the Mann Act without prior convictions, basically wanting to know what the precedents are. Of course, the government is going to be arguing that relevant conduct should come in, and the defense is going to be saying no and citing a Supreme Court recent decision about acquitted conduct not coming in. Now the question is some of this conduct not actually acquitted, but simply out there and in the ether? We'll find out as it moves along. Now, ironically, yesterday we went to cover a civil case not against Sean Combs, of which there are many of which are being pushed back, but we'll have more on that anon. But against L.A. Reid. Yes, L.A. Reid. Drew Dixon sued him in 2023 here in the SDNY. And he's changed lawyers a couple of times. And yesterday, his new defense, or current defense lawyer, who's trying to get released from the case, came to court in front of Judge Vargas, who also has the Drake versus UMG case. So he kind of has something kind of a music portfolio of cases. And L.A. Reid's lawyer said he's not paying. In fact, he changed his phone number, and they were unable to speak to their client, L.A. Reid. The prosecution, it's Boyce, Schiller, Flexner, who do a lot of these cases. They did a lot of the Epstein cases, and they're for Drew Dixon. They've been banging away. They're pretty effective. They have a lot of capabilities. They may be winning this one by default because Judge Vargas said the current firm has to finish discovery, but does not have to do the trial. And if at the final pretrial conference, L.A. Reid himself, pro se, or a new lawyer doesn't show up, she's going to allow them to move for default. And I believe that Boyce Schiller will be able to get default. Now, at issue is a Bel Air mansion. The photos of which are in the docket. We wrote a story about this yesterday. You can start with an addition, an extra, on X for subscribers and Substack, because there's a lot to it. There's this Bel Air mansion that L.A. Reid claims can't be sold, it's decrepit, but there's photographs of it, and they're trying to sell it. And in fact, it was said in court that Mariah Carey was hanging around in the house recently. I haven't seen that story, and I'm not going to track it down. So there's that. I don't want to say it's a more serious front, but I think it is. The state of New York and other states, Hawaii and others, have sued the National Science Foundation. And yesterday there was an oral argument in front of Judge Cronin. It went on for hours and hours. We live tweeted it. And the upshot was that one of their requests for preliminary injunctions was denied because it was essentially granted by a Massachusetts federal judge. And the other one he's taken under advisement. This has to do with funding that National Science Foundation said priorities have changed, and so shall our funding. And as a backup, the DOJ lawyers were also saying there's something called the Taylor Act. You have to take it to the Court of Claims, try to get your money back. You can't get an injunction. So we'll see what Judge Cronin does on that one. There's also the case in Boston we're tracking, which, God bless Judge Young, 84 years old, but he's putting it on Zoom, and we're covering that trial. But there's a new case here in the SDNY, and it's a case against UNRWA, the UN Relief and Works Administration in the Near East, for its role in October 7th. There was a first case that the U.S. State Department has now said the UN shouldn't have immunity on, or at least UNRWA shouldn't. And now a second case has been filed under the Anti-Terrorism Act, which might make it the arguments even stronger. The UN must be held to account, and not only in the case of October 7th, but in the case of cholera in Haiti, in the case of no First Amendment and throwing the press out, as has happened currently at Inner City Press, and we've reapplied. It's a lawless organization, but there are now two cases, and it's been called related. We're all over it, and we put it all up, the 213-page complaint. Okay, we're going in. To be continued.